It's his 7th start of the season. He's 2-2 with an ERA over 5. And Pat Morrow still searching for the form he had in his season debut against Tampa Bay when he was so good.
Yeah, very sharp in that game against Tampa Bay. And you know Brandon Morrow's going to have a good outing when he gets his breaking ball over for strikes. He faced 20 batters in that game and struck out half of them. A big reason why he had a good breaking ball. He's always had the super fastball. At one time in that game, he retired 11 of 12 batters in the middle innings. Now, he hasn't been as sharp since then. And I think that's because the breaking ball hasn't been there. He's had 13 walks in his next 5 starts. I look for him to turn it around here tonight.
He's going to have to be on his game tonight because he's facing a red-hot Carlos Quentin. Quentin had a big night Tuesday night down in Arlington. He had 3 home runs, the 12th time in his career he's had a multi-home run game.
There are power hitters up and down the lineup for the White Sox, but the strongest of them might be this guy right here, Carlos Quentin. Just a couple of years ago, this is a guy who hit 36 home runs, and he missed a month of the season with an injury. You mentioned the 3 home runs. Carlos Quentin is a very dangerous batter in the middle of that lineup.
The last time Quentin faced Brandon Morrow in this ballpark, he had a career-high 6 RBIs, including a grand slam home run. Little change tonight for Brandon Morrow. He'll be thrown to J.P. Arancibia for the first time. Arancibia truly becoming the everyday catcher here with the Jays. Jamie?
Stand. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome to Inside Baseball. The roof of Rogers Center is closed. They're threatening skies outside. Brandon Morrow will take on the Chicago White Sox for the first time since last April. Ozzie Guillen's White Sox have had a tough time here. The last 24 meetings, it's been a one-sided affair. The Blue Jays have owned the White Sox in every aspect of the game.
They've outpitched them, they've outhit them, they've scored more runs, and they've really dominated them here at Rogers Center. Over those last 24 games, they are 12-2 in this building versus the Chicago White Sox.
Ozzie Guillen's White Sox have been swinging the bat pretty good, and they have a tough customer in Brandon Morrow on the mound.
Brandon Morrow will make his 7th start of the year as he looks to break a mini 3-game slide.
Let's take a look at Ozzie Guillen's line. There are 5 games under 500. Juan Pierre, Alexei Ramirez, and Carlos Quentin. The red-hot Carlos Quentin, 28 extra base hits. Paul Konerko, and then Adam Dunn and Alex Rios. These are the 2 guys Ozzie Guillen's most concerned about. Dunn hitting 191, Rios 206, Pierzynski, VIZQUEL, and Gordon Beckham round out the lineup.
Dunn and Rios are just too good of hitters to be hitting right around the Mendoza line, and you got to figure that that's going to be going up. Hopefully after this 4-game series, as Brandon Morrow again tries to stop that mini 3-game slide. He began the year on the disabled list with elbow soreness, activated on April the 20th, and started the season off hot against Tampa. He's been up and down since. Morrow, anytime he takes the mound, he is capable of having double digits in strikeouts.
Blue Jays very aware that Juan Pierre will bunt. He has 6 bunt base hits so far this season. McDonald and Rivera in on the corners. Juan Pierre on this road trip just 3 for 12. He's only scored 1 run.
He is a hack and slash type of player at the top of that lineup. He just takes the ball and just puts the bat on it and tries to use his speed.
I mentioned Brandon Morrow making his 7th start, the first time he has thrown to JP Arencibia in the regular season. Jose Molina had been his personal catcher, and now John Farrell has made the decision that JP Arencibia is going to do most of the catching now.
Right. He is their #1 catcher, and he was saying before the ball game that Jose Molina is going to take on a more traditional backup catcher role.
A 4-pitch walk to start the game. Juan Pierre is aboard. That has not been a real problem for Brandon Morrow.
You can see him fighting himself a little bit right there after that 4-pitch walk. You're right. Has not been as sharp as we have seen him. But this year, the beginning of this year, is mirroring a little bit of what he did last year.
So with Pierre at first, you have to keep your eye on Juan Pierre. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, jumps back from an inside pitch, and Arencibia won't waste any time to go talk to Brandon Morrow.
A lot of the pitches that we have seen from Brandon over his last couple of starts have buzzed arm side out of the strike zone. And the Blue Jays realize that. They have worked with Morrow about that, trying to figure out what he needs to do to get in the strike zone. I think right now a good time is to throw a breaking ball. That'll force him to get up on top of his pitches and get him down.
A ball and no strikes on the #2 hitter, Alexei Ramirez. There's a strike. And that draws the appreciation of the crowd. 1-1 now. Chicago White Sox in the midst of a 10-game road trip, their 3rd long road trip of the season. That's bunted out in front of the mound. Morrow's going to second in time. They get the lead runner. Well, what a good play by Brandon Morrow, and he threw a seed to second, handcuffed Escobar.
Boy, he certainly did. That is the only way you're going to get Juan Pierre at second base. He runs so well. Watch how quickly Morrow makes the decision, and he handcuffs the shortstop. we have seen those plays like that in the past where it really hits you in the palm and they end up dropping it. Escobar stayed right with that one.
And he's still feeling the effects at shortstop. He's taken his glove off a couple of times, but that may have been the best fastball Morrow's thrown in a long time. So 1 out now to the red-hot Carlos Quentin. Quentin leads the American League with 28 extra base hits. Ramirez is not the base-stealing threat that Juan Pierre is. He's just 2 for 4 so far this season.
That's why it was so important to get him off the bases, Pierre. He can run so well.
Morrow jumps out ahead of Carlos Quentin.
You know, you look at the matchup that we have here tonight. Brandon Morrow, good strikeout pitcher and good fastball and everything else. And you look at the sluggers that the White Sox bring to the ballpark and you go, okay, this is going to be good for Morrow. He's going to have a lot of strikeouts. White Sox, though, have the 4th fewest strikeout total as a team in the American League. They've got some players with some home run power, but they don't strike out as much as you think.
Adam Dunn has always had a lot of strikeouts. He leads the team with 61 strikeouts. That's the most in the American League. And Carlos Quentin, pretty tough hitter. Just 29 strikeouts for the number 3 hitter.
And strong, too.
Hit him. And that happens a lot. Carlos Quentin stands right on top of the plate, and he gets hit an awful lot. Pitchers try to crowd him so he doesn't extend out over the plate, and Morrow puts 2 on now.
Second hit batter of the year for Brandon Morrow. You're absolutely right. Carlos Quentin is right on top of that plate, almost forcing you to throw inside. He dives into it. Just can't pull that left arm back quick enough. 9th time this year that he has been hit.
First and second, 1 out, Paul Konerko. Tonight, Konerko is the DH. As again was motivated by a couple of different things. He wants to get Adam Dunn going a little bit, and Dunn has played first base for the majority of his career. He's not used to DHing. Plus, he wants to get Konerko off the turf for half a game at least and give him a night in the DH spot. There's Dunn on deck, and it's been quite a struggle for Dunn to get it going so far. Morrow jumps ahead of Paul Konerko. First inning, 1 out. Morrow walked the first batter, Juan Pierre, and then with a man on, hit Carlos Quentin. Good fastball with 95. Konerko's one of the better hitters in the game. You can see the Blue Jays have always had trouble with him. 81 career games. He's hit 16 home runs and driven in 43.
Very cerebral hitter. I guess is right along with the pitcher, thinks about it. Yeah, when he gets in 2-strike mode, he's a pretty good hitter. Can hit the ball the other way with a little bit of authority.
Flares this into right. Bautista's got a beat on it. Konerko's retired there at 2 down.
Pretty good fastball from Morrow, showing that here in the first inning. Just watching some of the swings from some of these batters. Surprised at how quickly that ball is getting on top of him.
Big Adam Dunn, now 31 years old. Dunn signed as a free agent in the offseason, signed to a nice 4-year contract. Fastball just off plate. One thing he's thought about the White Sox when they signed Dunn, they had Konerko, they had Quentin. Alexi Ramirez was coming. You say, boy, these guys are going to score a ton of runs.
And remember about the first week or 10 days, we kept looking at each other during the game saying, wow, look at, have you seen what the White Sox have? They averaged about 8 or 9 runs a game for the first week or so. And then all of a sudden, it shut down.
There's a strike. Evens accounted 1-1. They scored 16 runs in the opener. Then they beat Cleveland 8-3. and they just continue to score runs. They beat Kansas City in Kansas City 10-7. They scored double-digit runs several times early in the season, and that's what everybody thought. Well, here go the White Sox.
Yeah, they've got power up and down that lineup in ways to score runs. There's another half swing. But you know what else would happen to them is they lost a lot of games late. Bullpen blew a lot of games, and I think they started pressing a little bit.
When you look at this, it's hard to imagine there's averaging under 4 runs a game. We know the Twins are struggling. Athletics don't score many runs, and the Mariners are offensively challenged. Nobody anticipated this with the White Sox. Down out in front.
Well, that was the pressing. They started pressing a little bit to try and do a little bit more. Talking to Greg Walker today, the hitting coach for the White Sox, and he says we're starting to figure it out again. Everybody's starting to get relaxed a little bit more, getting on time. Said Adam Dunn had some of the best BP sessions he has seen in Texas. That's where the White Sox came from. So they're hoping that he's starting to turn the corner.
Downstairs, 2-2. Well, Dunn had an emergency appendectomy in the first week of April. That wasn't the big news. The big news was he only missed 6 games. Came right back, and that may have been a problem for Dunn. Trying to come back and contribute might have created problems at the plate for him. 2-2, 2 outs. Lays off that slider inside. I mean, I can't imagine having an emergency appendectomy and coming back in 3 days, start swinging the bat, and then play in 6.
Yeah, how about that? I think that's the football mentality in Adam Dunn. He was a football player in high school, was going to go to Texas to play that sport, but the Reds drafted him up high, and he's been a baseball player.
Full count, 2 outs, runners are going. There's strike 3 call, and Dunn knew it. Brandon Morrow racks up his first strikeout of the night, strands a couple of White Sox. They get 2 on. They don't get a hit. We have played a half inning. We're scoreless. As they return home after a short 3-game trip to New York, Escobar, Patterson, Bautista, top of the order. Juan Rivera continues to play first base very effectively. JP Arencibia moves up to the 5th spot. Aaron Hill starting to swing the bat a little bit better. How about Eric Thames getting a base hit off the great Mariano Rivera in his last at bat yesterday? Rajay Davis and John McDonald round out the lineup for John Farrell.
Bill Umber will take the mound for the Chicago White Sox. He began the year in the bullpen, making 2 appearances, joined the rotation on April the 9th, and has posted solid wins over the Yankees and the Rays. He was a very high draft pick for the New York Mets. Had some injury problems, has bounced around through a few teams. The White Sox picked him up in January of this year. And when Jake Peavy was injured, had a chance to make some starts and has done outstanding. Look at that whip, 0.94. He just doesn't give up many base runners.
He's a strike thrower. Yunel Escobar jumps on the first pitch and pops it into shallow right field. Carlos Quentin coming in over near the foul line makes the catch.
Defensively for the White Sox, they've committed 30 errors this year. Juan Pierre, Alex Rios, Carlos Quentin will be in the outfield. Omar Vizquel, the great shortstop from the Cleveland Indians, will get to start just his 9th at third base for Ozzie Guillen. Adam Dunn, just his 5th start over at first base, trying to kickstart him offensively. They put him in the field. AJ Pierzynski behind the plate. Then Omar Vizquel, what a marvel at 44 years old.
11 Gold Gloves for Vizquel, 3-time All-Star, and boy, he's an asset even at 43 years old. Corey Patterson hitting .269. Bunts it right back to the mound. Umber is there just in time. Patterson almost beat it. Umber took his time, and Patterson made it close.
Almost nonchalantly throwing the ball over to first base, and Patterson almost outran the ball.
And now it's Jose Bautista, and that always gets the crowd's attention. Here's Umber. You can see just kind of nonchalance it, and Patterson just out by a half a step at first. Bautista, a little bit of a slump here of late, still hitting .342. Looks at a first pitch fastball. Bautista has hit 19 home runs. That leads the majors. Philip Umber has only allowed 3 home runs. Off-speed pitch down and away. Philip Umber was a first-round pick of the Mets back in 2004. There's a bullet hit into center field. A one-hopper right in front of Rios. Looks a little bit more like the Jose Bautista we have seen all year.
Yankees tried to throw soft stuff at him. The softer they threw it, the more success they had. This time Umber tries the same thing. It looked like a breaking ball that just hung up, and he ripped it into center field.
So he's off to a good start. 2-out base hit. A couple of big home run hitters there, huh?
In different contrasting styles. Yeah. You know, Jose Bautista with the quick bat, and Dunn with just the sheer power.
Juan Rivera with 2 down. Good cut of the high fastball. Yeah, Adam Dunn at 6'6", dwarfs Bautista, but they are both prolific home run hitters.
Look at the difference in the size of the forearms. That's all you need to know between those two hitters. How they get the job done.
Checked his swing. No appeal. It's a ball on the strike, 2 outs. That is indeed the beauty of baseball. You can have 2 home run hitters, and they couldn't be more different than Adam Dunn and Jose Bautista. You look at the size first and foremost, and Dunn hits high, booming fly balls, and Bautista hits line drives into the seats. Over the course of the 3 games in New York, we had the first and second best home run hitters in baseball, Curtis Granderson and Jose Bautista. And if you saw them on the street, you couldn't pick them out in the crowd.
You wouldn't even know that they were baseball players.
Just off the outside corner.
Granderson does it with bat speed also, and hitting at a great ballpark and a great lineup. You'd know Dunn is something if you saw him on the street. Maybe a wrestler.
Yeah, they'd look at him and say, well, that guy's an athlete of some sort. Fouls it back over the screen. Philip Umber is unique in his draft history. In 2004, he was pitching at Rice University down in Houston. He was taken 3rd overall by the New York Mets. Jeff Neiman, his teammate, was 4th, picked by Tampa Bay, and Wade Townsend, the 3rd pitcher on that Rice team, was picked 8th by the Baltimore Orioles. First time in the history of the draft 3 teammates were taken in the top 8 picks of the draft. Breaking ball down. It's a full count.
I sure hope they won the championship that year.
Well, and just for good measure, they had David Aardsma, who has been a closer in the past. He's currently injured with the Mariners, and Paul Janisch. Janisch is playing shortstop for the Reds. Had a big game yesterday. Pretty good team. Full count. Bautista will be off on the pitch. There he goes. Rivera pops it up. Second baseman Gordon Beckham is there, and Humber has a good first inning. He gives up a 2-out single and nothing more.
Brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners turn it up a notch if you're a batter against Brandon Morrow. He's got that explosive fastball, good breaking pitches. 6 in 6 starts. He's had at least 6 strikeouts in all 6 of his starts this season. And darn those Sox, they've been tough on Brandon Morrow. 8.38 ERA in 2 career starts versus Chicago. He has made 7 appearances, 5 relief appearances in those 2 starts.
Last start was last April, and he lost a 11-1 to the White Sox. Former Blue Jay Alex Rios steps in, takes the first pitch strike. Fans gave Rios a rude welcome here at Rogers Center. He was batting just .206. Hits it sharply to the shortstop. Escobar with that cannon for an arm makes an easy play on Rios.
Crowd into the game now on a little ground out by Rios.
Well, the White Sox are in town. They'll play a 4-game series. We'll be right here at Rogers Center tomorrow. Another night game at 7:07 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, both afternoon affairs. They both start at 1:07 p.m. Log on to BlueJays.com for tickets. Call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234 or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Tomorrow night, it'll be Mark Burley against the right-hander Kyle Drabeck. Veteran catcher A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski is just really flourished here with the White Sox. Truly one of their leaders. A couple years ago, Pierzynski was a little upset at something I said during a national broadcast. I called him the White Sox Dennis Rodman. He had the blonde hair and he was all about winning, and he said, I don't think that's a compliment. I said, AJ, it's all about, the only thing you care about is winning, and we have seen, and he's done it for many years, he'll do anything it takes to win.
Yeah, and as a opposing player, he's the kind of player like when you face Dave Steve, you have respect for what a good player they are, and you wanted to beat them so bad. They just rub you wrong, and then when you get on their team, you just love people like AJ Burnett or AJ Pierzynski. You just want these kind of winners on your team.
Yeah, and he is truly motivated for one thing, and that's to win. But we got that all ironed out.
I knew where you were going with that. I could see that.
2-2, fouled it off. Yeah, you can relate to the basketball aspect of it. And, you know, Rodman was that kind of guy. He's like that burr under your saddle.
Yeah.
It just won't go away. It's always there, and it's always what A.J. Brzezinski has been.
And they will do anything to help your ball club win a ball game. He's got some good pitchers here for the White Sox. He's got his World Series ring. That was back in 2005.
Another 2-2 pitch from Brandon Morrow. One out here in the second inning. Buried that breaking ball in the dirt. Full count.
Having trouble getting his breaking ball over. That's what we were talking about in the opening. When he has it for strikes, you're going to pile up a lot of big strikeout games. But over his last few outings, the breaking ball for strikes just hasn't been there.
Shatters his bat. Hill comes in and makes the catch. And that got deep in the kitchen of A.J. Brzezinski. Second out here in the second.
So do you put down pop up the second or line out the second?
WL4. Weak liner.
That's a good fastball right there. 3-2 right in on his hands. Gets a little piece of that bat, and Morrow certainly has a good fastball.
Or you could put down BBL4, broken bat line drive.
All right, I think I'll go with that one.
So now there are two out for the veteran Omar VIZQUEL. VIZQUEL turned 44 years old in April. Look at his numbers. Hitting over 300. Keeps himself in phenomenal shape. There's a lot of pride in his preparation, and there's a guy across the diamond in the dugout that learned an awful lot from Omar VIZQUEL, and that would be none other than John McDonald.
He had Johnny Mack when he was a young player, and Johnny Mack really learned how to practice the right way watching Omar VIZQUEL. You take a look at VIZQUEL and you cover up his face and look from the neck down, he looks like he's 24 instead of 44.
Takes great care of himself. There's a strike. 3-1. Signed his first pro contract with the Seattle Mariners. Signed as a free agent on April 1st of 1984. The pop foul out of play. It's not an accident that he's wearing number 11 in that Chicago White Sox uniform. VIZQUEL's from Venezuela, and the great Luis Aparicio wore that number for Chicago. Aparicio played shortstop alongside of Nellie Fox. Pretty good combination up the middle. Full count, 2 outs. Popped up into center field. Rajay Davis giving ground is there, and Morrow has a 1-2-3 second inning. Brandon Morrow has found the groove. Middle of the second, it's still scoreless.
scouting report for the right-hander. He's got running sink on his fastball. It touches 91 miles an hour. As pitching coach Don Cooper says, I see some twos in there every now and then, some 92s. He's got the big curveball. That's still his bread and butter pitch, the big overhand curveball. And one thing about Umber is he will throw strikes. Just 12 base-on balls in 52 innings coming into this game. So be ready to swing that bat when you step into that batter's box.
Start of this game, opponents hitting just 191 against Philip Umber. JP Arencibia hitting in the 5th spot tonight. His bat is coming around. 8 home runs, 24 driven in. The first pitch breaking ball.
You know what I like about Arencibia is he can hit the ball all over the place and with power. A lot of times when you have young players come up and they are home run hitters, and JP Arencibia is a home run hitter, they have holes in their swing. You can throw them breaking balls and they'll swing right through it. He understands hitting too.
You can see his numbers. He has been swinging a hot bat of late, and one thing he learned early in his career, you don't have to pull the ball to hit it out of Rogers Center. He has hit balls to straightaway center and down the right field line. It's a high breaking ball. That was very enticing. He was thinking about hacking at that.
Just a little bit more spin and get it down in that strike zone, but he was right on it.
Goes around in the curveball, and Umber goes back to his favorite pitch. That's the put-away pitch. It's the hook. First strikeout for Umber.
It's quick, and it's got late break to it. That's why you see the check swing from JP. Have to file that one away for later in the ball game.
Well, he threw him a good one to start and a good one to finish. That slider just misses off the plate. That's a new pitch that Umber is bringing into the mix. Used it against the Yankees very effectively and kind of caught the New Yorkers flat-footed. Hill hits it a mile high over near the seats. VIZQUEL's got room. 2 down.
That's right. They tried cutter, teaching Philip Umber a cutter in spring training, and he threw a good one here, he threw a good one there. They said, well, let's try a slider, and they taught him the grip and they taught him the proper way to throw it. Don Cooper, the pitching coach, I think is really good. Tinkers with a lot of these pitchers and helps them, gives them different pitches to work with.
Eric Thames, the DH. Thames in yesterday's game had a couple of hits, drove in a run with a single in the 7th. Hits this ball hard, but right to the backhand side for Beckham. A good inning for Philip Umber. A 1-2-3 second inning. Took him just 9 pitches. We played 2 complete. the Champions League final. Live from Wembley Stadium, it's Barcelona against Manchester United. The Champions League final on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Two of the great football franchises in the world, Barcelona and Man U, hook up in the Champions League final. Second baseman Gordon Beckham starts things on. Jumps on the first pitch and lines it right to the shortstop. That's what we like. One out, one pitch.
20 pitches in the first inning for Brandon Morrow. That'll help keep that pitch count down.
Brandon Morrow had a good start his first time out. He struck out 10 in 5 1/3 against Tampa Bay, but it's been a real roller coaster for him ever since. Juan Pierre took a 4-pitch walk his first time up. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Pierre really challenges the inner defense. He's always a threat to bunt. He's got great speed, and he hits from the left-handed hitter's batter's box. He's about 4 feet closer to first when he makes contact.
Yeah, it's not just the corner infielders that have to come in. Even the middle infielders have to shorten up a bit.
He is third in the American League with 45 singles. Ichiro has 49. Denard Span of the Twins has 46. Currently riding a 10-game hit streak. A ball and 2 strikes. Breaking ball, he laid off. Peel down to third. No swing, says David Rackley.
There's the pitch that has to be thrown for a strike. It's sharp and it's late. If he throws that for a strike, hitters are going to have a tough time. Watch how quickly this ball gets down and Pierre can just hold up.
2-2. Hit to center field. Davis is on the move, but he's going to be able to get there. He runs it down with his back to the infield. Playing shallow, as we mentioned, Pierre hits a lot of singles, and Davis got a good jump. Two outs now for the shortstop, Alexei Ramirez. Ramirez tried to put down a sacrifice bunt his first time up, bunted it right back to Morrow, who got the force out at second. That's a pretty good looking hack at the first pitch.
He's not afraid, and he's on a little bit of a hot streak also, Ramirez. He's thin. You wouldn't think that he would be able to hit a lot of home runs, but he won his first Silver Slugger award as a shortstop last year. It made the Sporting News first team in the American League.
Little short hopper for John McDonald. Brandon Morrow has a quick inning. A 1-2-3 third inning. Just 8 pitches for the big right-hander. He's retired 9 straight.
you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
A very fast-paced ball game as both pitchers are in good. Rajay Davis will lead things off. It's 8-9-1 for the Blue Jays. Blue Jays with just one hit. A Bautista two-out single in the first. Pops this one up to center. Rios circles back, now camps under it and makes the catch. Humber has retired 5 straight.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Third baseman John McDonald will bat with 1 out. McDonald's average has slipped under 200. He's been fairly productive. He has 11 RBI.
A couple of home runs, 11 RBIs for Johnny Mac.
Up the middle. Ramirez has terrific range and throws a strike to first. Boy, he covers a lot of ground. You can't get a ball past him, and he's got a strong arm, a different kind of arm than Yunel Escobar. But he's got a lot of carry on his throws.
Ramirez came up and he played second base for the White Sox. Orlando Cabrera was the shortstop when he left. His natural position is short, and he's a very good player who's just getting better and better.
Both Escobar and Alexei Ramirez are from Cuba, and they have really become very consistent players in the big leagues. Ramirez now in his 4th season with the White Sox. He's done a good job. He's come on, as you mentioned, made the transition from second to short very effectively. Ball is popped over near the seats and back out of play.
A shortstop that hits home runs. I believe he had 18 home runs last year.
Hit 21 home runs his first season. He's driven in at least 68 runs in each of his 3 seasons.
You know, I'll take that from the shortstop position and the great defense that we have seen from Ramirez. I think we're going to see that from Escobar at some point too.
Well, Escobar certainly has handled the defensive aspect of it. Alexei Ramirez is 29 years old. Escobar fouls it back. Philip Humber has really grabbed a hold of his spot. He was picked up on waivers by the White Sox, probably as protection for the injured Jake Peavy. Escobar reaches for it. Beckham calls for it, and these pitchers are sailing right through. They're mowing them down as Philip Humber has another 1, 2, 3 innings. We've played 3 innings here and had just 1 hit. Both pitchers are in command. The TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD. Great front row action, big comfy chairs, and these fans are being entertained by a pretty good pitching matchup. Brandon Morrow and Philip Humber. Carlos Quentin was hit by a pitch his first time up. Goes after a first pitch breaking ball. Last April 14th, Quentin was 0 for 2 in the ball game when he stepped to the plate with the bases loaded.
And hits his third career grand slam at that time. It was part of a 6 RBI day, which is his best RBI day in the major leagues. He's strong. That one looked like he just muscled it into the bullpen.
That's a good breaking ball there as he swings right over the top of it. Carlos Quentin started out his career with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was injured early on, then he got healthy, and then re-injured himself in 2008 at the end of the season. Had a great season going, 36 homers and 100 RBI.
That was right at the beginning of September. And I remember talking to Greg Walker, the hitting coach for the White Sox at the time, and he said, no doubt in my mind, this was the MVP in the American League if he didn't get hurt. Right at the first part of September. They had basically a whole month to go, and he was at 36 and 100 at the time.
He was acquired by the White Sox in a deal with Arizona for an infielder, Chris Carter, December in 2007. At the time, there was some good young outfielders in Arizona, Chris Young and Justin Upton. White Sox are pleased to have Carlos Quentin. He stays alive, gets that breaking ball down and away. Quentin is just 28 years old. Played in parts of 2 seasons in Arizona, 57 games in 06, 81 games in 07, and became a regular in 08.
Then the injuries started happening to him. Shoulder problems, he had plantar fasciitis in his left foot. Missed a lot of time on the disabled list, but when he is healthy, he can crank them.
He's another one of the great collegiate players that played at Stanford University. Full count. Pulled foul. Ozzie Guillen in his 8th season with the White Sox. Hard to believe that it's gone by that quickly. He and Terry Francona are tied for the 4th longest tenure with their ball club. Of course, the leader in that department, Tony La Russa, started with the Cardinals in '96. That's popped up into center field. Should be an easy play for Davis. Brandon Morrow has really settled down. He walked the first batter he faced and then hit Quentin, but nobody has reached since.
This is what he did last year through his first 6 starts. And I was talking about it in the first inning, how it mirrors so far this year what he has done. Just about the same earned run average. The strikeouts are about everything is just about the same. And it was about this time last year where Brandon Morrow, the light went on for him and he just took off.
You remember, Brandon Morrow started the season this year on the disabled list. He complained of some tightness in his elbow, and the Blue Jays, being very cautious, put him on the DL on the 18th of March. Paul Konerko goes after the first pitch. Big 2 hopper to McDonald. Brandon Morrow is being awfully efficient with his pitches.
Last season, Brandon Morrow was voted by the Toronto chapter of the baseball writers as the Blue Jays player of the month in June. It was the month of June where he made 5 starts and his ERA was under 2 at 1.9. We're starting to head into June, and Morrow is starting to look like the pitcher he was last year.
Well, I'm sure, and I know for a fact, as you look at the defensive shift for Adam Dunn, Very similar to what the Blue Jays use against Mark Teixeira. David Ortiz, big power hitting left-handers.
Jim Tomei.
Two outs. But Morrow wasn't pleased about going on a disabled list. He thought he would just skip his side session and make a regular turn in spring training. But Bruce Walton and John Farrell felt the best for Brandon Morrow in the long haul was to make sure that elbow quieted down. Part of a solid foundation the Blue Jays have in their rotation, anchored by Ricky Romero, Brandon Morrow, youngster Kyle Drabek. Blue Jays will see Carlos Villanueva make his second start of the season after a very strong 5-inning outing against New York. Villanueva will start on Saturday.
Drabek tomorrow. So the White Sox get a couple of right-handers with some good heat.
We mentioned Dunn has 61 strikeouts, now 62 with his strikeout in the first. Austin Jackson with 59, and there's a couple of different hitters. Peter Borges with the Angels, the center fielder that can fly. You wouldn't expect he'd have 55 strikeouts.
Not those two center fielders. They're leadoff hitter types.
Make it 63. Brandon Morrow strikes out Adam Dunn for a second time. He is now retired 11 straight. Got off to an 0-6 start. How about Carl Crawford?
Oh,
man.
I'm glad we faced him early when he wasn't swinging well.
Well, I tell you what, you look at that pitching matchup to start today. Alfredo Aceves against Max Scherzer, and not many people would have expected the Red Sox to jump all over Scherzer the way they did. We got a good one going here at Rogers Center. Philip Humber and Brandon Morrow. Only one hit in the ball game. Off speed pitch. Good changeup from Humber. The White Sox have a 6-man rotation. There's a curveball, and there's another hit. That hanging curveball, Patterson slapped it the other way. We mentioned the 6-man rotation. John Dank's the left-hander, and he's had a terrible start to his season. He's looking for his first win. But they have Jake Peavy. They didn't really know what they were going to get from Peavy. Peavy came back a lot more healthy than they expected. But the White Sox have made 14 starts with a 6-man rotation. Patterson at first. Bautista shows bunt. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, the last team to use a 6-man rotation was the Orioles last year at the end of the season. They had 6 young pitchers and they wanted to get a look at everyone.
Yeah, and that's 3 turns through the rotation. They qualify them as a 6-man rotation. And they've done okay, the 6-man rotation. There's some good to think about, and there's some stuff that you also have to think about. You start throwing in some off days, and there's going to be pitchers who are going to be sitting around for about 8 days in a 6-man rotation.
2 balls and no strikes. White Sox, according to Ozagian and Don Cooper, will probably eliminate the 6th starter on June 2nd. It's an off day. They'll revamp their rotation. 2-0. Nobody out. Off speed pitch in there.
They do some interesting things with those 6 starters that they have on days 2 and 3 of their time in between their starts. They send them out in the bullpen just in case. And having 6 guys, you've got to cover yourself in that back end of the bullpen.
Patterson was leaning toward second. We haven't seen Patterson run an awful lot lately because the teams are very quick to put Bautista on at first with nobody aboard.
The same reason, excuse me, Buck, why Rajay Davis is hitting down in the order, so they can take advantage of his stealing of bases. Just 6 for 10, Corey Patterson this year. He goes ahead and steals second base. They're not pitching to Bautista.
Bautista hits it off the end of the bat. Quentin broke back initially. Now he recovers and comes in to make the catch. First out of the 4th. When you look at Philip Humber and consider where he is among the league leaders, this is the lowest OPS. Josh Beckett, Alexi Ogando, Michael Pineda, Dan Herron, and there Phil Humber. Very, very impressive, dominating hitters.
Probably the best offensive numbers you can use to gauge something. The offensive number on base plus their slug is what they've done. He's up there amongst the better pitchers in the American League.
Ogando is 5-0.
One other thing that he has done is he has really handcuffed right-handed pitchers this year, using that good breaking ball and slider. Righties are just hitting 125 against Humber.
They've improved his breaking ball, and as a result, righties have a tough time against him. Patterson with a big lead. There he goes. Pitch out. Pierzynski's throw. In time. Boy, it looked like the tag was late, and John Farrell is going to come out and argue that point. Beckham took the throw on the shortstop side of second.
For me, it looks like he's going to beat the throw, but his feet, as he started to slide into second base, kind of stopped. They didn't go all the way into the base. Watch, here's the slide. And his feet are a little bit late.
I still think he was safe. That straight leg. Watch the straight leg. He'll extend it, make contact with the base before Beckham gets the tag on him.
Patterson can't believe it. Looking at it in the replay, the high tag, and second base umpire Rob Drake missed that one.
So now there are 2 outs. Pierzynski and the bench guessed right. They called the pitch out when Patterson was breaking. Juan Rivera. Sharply hit through the left side into left field. That makes that call at second even a little bit larger right now. So Rivera has his first hit, just 3 hits tonight in the ballgame. You can see Farrell still stewing about that bang play at second.
Yeah. When are we going to catch a break here? Yeah, he was safe on the replay, and then he scores on that hit by Rivera.
JP Arencibia struck out on a breaking ball his first time up. If you were Arencibia right now, would you be looking for a breaking ball?
Well, probably the way he swung it, that one for strike 3. I'd look for a breaking ball at some point.
Little cutter caught the outside corner. Ball on the strike with 2 outs. Scoreless ball game. The Blue Jays have 3 hits, 3 singles. Off the plate. Those 3 singles, the only hits in the ball game.
2 of them by right-handers, and he has pitched really well against the righty. Bautista and Rivera now with singles.
That'll get by Pierzynski. Rivera is headed for second. Well, now there's a man in scoring position for Arencibia with 2 outs.
Like an off-speed pitch. It looked like Pierzynski was going to try and smother it. Not block it, just try and smother it with his glove. It looked like it hit the chalk around home plate. Scored it by him.
Really an awkward way to go about it. He just really tried to slap that ball into the dirt, snuck under his glove. In a scoreless game, that's a big 90 feet. 3-1 to Arencibia. Another off-speed pitch. He takes the free pass. It's the first walk issued by Philip Umber. Rivera moved to second on the wild pitch. Now Arencibia is aboard with the 2-out walk. Been a good run for Aaron Hill over his last 12 games. He has 7 doubles. Popped up to third base. Hill is one of the few Blue Jays that have faced Umber before this game tonight. He had an at bat and the base hit. Yunel Escobar is the only other player in this game that has faced Umber before tonight. He can be a tough guy if you're looking at him for the first time with all the different pitches he offers. Another pop-up done the first baseman in the coach's box. Hill was retired. The Blue Jays get 2 on, but they strand a pair. We have played 4 complete here in every time he revisits Rogers Center. He was claimed by the White Sox off the Blue Jays roster August 10th of 2009. He is in his 7th season as a big leaguer.
You know, it's not like he was an awful player or something like that. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, when he was claimed on waivers, he had 14 home runs and 62 RBIs through 108 games. He's in a hole 0-2, much to the delight of the crowd.
Here are the numbers that Rios put up in his 800-plus games with the Blue Jays, a 285 average. He did hit 81 home runs and just under 300 RBIs.
Queued up the end of the bat. Alex Rios was a #1 pick of the Blue Jays, 19th pick overall in the June draft of '99. He went through the normal progression, working his way through the minor league system. Medicine Hat, Hagerstown, Charleston, Dunedin, New Haven, Syracuse, Toronto. To the shortstop. On the money. I tell you what, you hit it to the shortstop, you're out.
For both of these teams, stay away from that part of the diamond because it's going to be an out. Both of them with great range, good hands, and strong arms.
You know, Escobar is playing with so much confidence. I mean, you can see him even when he gets a tough ground ball with a long throw, just takes his time. There's no urgency in his approach. Got to make a pitcher feel good. One out. A.J. Pierzynski fouls it off. Pierzynski was jammed his first time up, broke his bat, and hit a little humpback liner to the second baseman. There's the first base hit of the game for the White Sox, an opposite field single. Now Brandon Morrow held the White Sox hitless through 4 1/3.
We've seen some funny swings from the White Sox. This is by design, I think, from A.J. Pierzynski. Fastball, don't overcommit too much. Just slap the ball the other way. Works out for him.
1 on, 1 out, Omar VIZQUEL. There goes Pierzynski. The hit and run zone, and VIZQUEL pulls it off perfectly. Pierzynski has to stop at second as VIZQUEL slapped it through the vacated shortstop hole.
Veteran. That is just smart baseball right there. You can do so many things with VIZQUEL. He knows fastball that the shortstop is going to be covering. And he just slaps it to the vacated side on the left side of the infield.
Can a hitter like VIZQUEL wait and see who's covering and then decide where he's hitting it?
I think he can go by pitches or location. I think he's smart enough. Yeah.
Certainly has the experience. Now first and second, best opportunity for the White Sox since the first inning. Gordon Beckham takes the first pitch strike. Beckham lined out to the shortstop his first time up. White Sox had runners at first and second with 1 out back in the first, and then Konerko popped up and Dunn struck out. Like Beckham had made up his mind he wasn't going to swing, and then said, "Oop, I better swing at that one."
Yeah, and found himself now in an 0-2 hole.
That's a good start to the game for Brandon Morrow. This is more like what we saw at the end of the season a year ago with Morrow. Dominance and command of the strike zone with all of his pitches.
Use your fastball, but get it down.
Popped up into center. Pierzynski's going back to second to tag. Davis is aware and uncorks a strong throw. 2 outs, back to the top of the order. Pierzynski at second, VIZQUEL at first. Juan Pierre pulls it into right field. Bautista's got a good arm. Here comes the catcher, Pierzynski, toward the plate. The throw is offline, and the White Sox have taken a 1-0 lead. Juan Pierre not wasting any time, jumped on the first pitch and comes up with the first RBI of the game. VIZQUEL goes first to third.
Jose Bautista in right field will have a shot after Pierre pulls this first pitch by Rivera and into right field. Bautista goes to the line. He charges the ball better than anybody, but watch the bobble. Right there, the double clutch. The timing was thrown off, and that's why that ball was up the line. Bautista knew with A.J. Pierzynski running that he had a shot at him at the plate. Just off target.
Pierre at first was thinking about going. Just barely got back in time.
That's the best time to go. Right after you get an RBI single, the pitcher is now flustered a little bit. He was out there, and he was thinking about going.
2 outs. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, is 0 for 2. Inside.
Pierre's been picked off 3 times this year while he was a runner on the bases. He takes a bigger lead than normal, and he was almost picked off there.
Juan Pierre is the active stolen base leader in the big leagues. There's that fake to third, and Pierre was on his toes. Juan Pierre has 534 stolen bases. He also is the active leader with bunt base hits. Percentages down this year. White Sox starting to hit their stride. They have struggled offensively. They've played a lot of road games as well. This is the 29th game on the road they have played already this season. There goes Pierre. Got a good jump. Swing and a miss. No throw from Arancibia. So Pierre comes up with his 8th steal of the season.
Led the league last year with 68 stolen bases. Gets him in the scoring position for Ramirez. Ramirez was the AL Player of the Week last week. And he did it with his bat, so you know he is hot. Got to be very careful with him here.
Carlos Quentin. He was hit by a pitch and popped up. He's on deck. The White Sox have broken through against Brandon Monroe. They've scored a run on 3 hits, and they have 2 runners in scoring position. High breaking ball. 3-1. Ramirez had that big week last week. He went 7 for 9 with 4 doubles and a home run.
Yeah, he's got some lightning in that bat if you try and slip fastballs by him.
There's the walk. That'll load the bases for Carlos Quentin. Now Morrow's in a jam here in the 5th after some smooth sailing, and it's all started with 1 out. Alex Rios was retired on a ground ball to short, and then Pierzynski got the first hit off of Morrow. OMAR VIZQUEL with a hit and run single, and then 1 out later, Juan Pierre, a first pitch RBI base hit into right. The dangerous Carlos Quentin. 2 outs and the bases loaded. Fouls off the first pitch fastball.
Looked like he was sitting on something right there. There are the numbers for Carlos Quentin with the bases loaded. 4 grand slams.
We've talked about this in the past. RBI guys like Quentin seem to elevate their game. You were a great hitter with the bases loaded. The mindset has to be the pitcher's in trouble.
Yeah. You have to put all the pressure on him, and he's got to come to you.
Hot shot to McDonald. Goes to second for the force out, and Brandon Morrow minimizes the damage. The White Sox get the first run of the game. They score a run on improved to 24 and 24, 500. Brandon Morrow has fallen behind 1-0 to Philip Umber and the White Sox. Umber has allowed the Blue Jays 3 hits. Eric Thames grounded to second his first time up.
So what's the plan now offensively? You know that Umber is going to be around the plate. Do you go up there aggressively, or do you try to get into hitters counts? We've seen that a lot with the Blue Jays this year. Aggressively swinging the bat, but then you make a few outs and all of a sudden the White Sox are back in their dugout.
Yeah, I think the one thing you have to realize that Umber's not going to walk many people. He is going to be around the zone, so you better be up there ready to hit. And you don't have to think about a 96, 97 mile an hour fastball. Just track the ball and try to put it in play. Fly ball to left. Juan Pierre over. Takes the catch in fair territory. Thames is retired. Fans, it's semifinal Friday at the 2011 MasterCard Memorial Cup. Mississauga has already qualified and awaits the winner of tonight's tiebreaker between Owen Sound and Kootenai. Tune in Friday at 7 Eastern on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. The tiebreaker is currently tied 2-2 in the second period. One out, Rajay Davis. Boy, Umber, like so many pitchers that are strike throwers, loves to work quickly.
Get into that good rhythm. You know, I bring that up about trying to be over aggressive with a guy who's always around the plate. He just doesn't give up base runners. Less than 25% of the time somebody gets on base against him. You can see Rajay Davis trying to work the count now.
And look how quickly Umber toes the rubber and looks for a sign. 2-2, 1 out. Davis hits it to left field. Pierre is back. Davis is retired. 2 outs here in the 5th. You mentioned Philip Umber. He is 8th in the league in base on balls per 9 inning, averaging just over 2. So he's not going to get himself into trouble. Umber is starting here, making his 9th start. He is yet to pitch an inning this year with the bases loaded. He just doesn't have many base runners up.
Lowest opponent's on base percentage as a starter. He has the 4th best in the American League.
Some pretty good names on that list as well. John McDonald just barely foul.
Dan Herron's on that list of lowest on base percentage, and Kyle Loesch. That's not just the American League, that's Major League Baseball. And your favorite pitcher, I get a feel, Lexi Ogando. Every time we talk about him, you get.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
There's a strike on the corner, a ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 5th. The White Sox have taken a 1-0 lead. Curveball. Donald stays alive, fouls it out of play. How about the pitcher on top of that list, Josh Tomlin of the Indians? His on-base percentage for opponents, .225.
So you have to be in hacking mode.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. You can't just sit there and take pitches for strikes.
You know, lazy fly ball into right field. Carlos Quentin is there, and another 1-2-3 inning for Philip Umber. Blue Jays had a good opportunity in the 4th, and Umber rose to the occasion. We have played 5. It's the White Sox 1, the Blue Jays 0. Bautista, Yunel Escobar, and Adam Lynn. Cast your votes at BlueJays.com. Fans are reminded you can vote up to 25 times per email. Vote early, vote often. Send your Blue Jays to the All-Star game in Phoenix. Quite a starters duel here. Philip Umber, 5 innings, 3 hits. Morrow, 5 innings, 3 hits. The White Sox have scored the only run of the ball game.
Low strikeout totals, low walk totals. Both of these pitchers have been around the plate. Morrow has 2 strikeouts, and both of those have been to Adam Dunn.
Paul Konerko takes a second wide one. It's 2-0. Konerko starting off the 6th. Konerko is the DH tonight as Adam Dunn gets the start at first. Out in front of that pitch, pulls it foul.
Konerko's an underrated hitter, isn't he? Doesn't get the recognition that you would think. 39 home runs last year, 111 RBIs. He has had 11 seasons of at least 20 home runs. 6 30 home run seasons in his career. Yet when you talk about players who've hit a lot of home runs, you don't hear his name very often.
No, he's got a 280 career average. He has 10 home runs this season. He now has 375 big league home runs. That ball is over near the camera bay. Rivera over and Aaron Seavey both. Looked like Rivera could have reached in and made a swipe at that. Aaron Seavey just had a long run. He couldn't get there in time.
You know, what an effort by Aaron Seavey. I mean, you're right. It looked like Juan Rivera had a chance to maybe jump into that camera well and make a play.
So Konerko's alive. It'll be a full count. Nobody out here in the 6th. Got him. Now with a breaking ball, and he strikes out Paul Konerko.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Adam Dunn has struck out twice tonight. Dunn came up in the Cincinnati Reds organization. He was a 2nd-round pick. I got to believe the only reason he was a 2nd-rounder was there was the threat that he was going to go play football at the University of Texas.
He was going to do that, and Austin Kearns was the 1st-round draft pick that season. Jim Bowden, the general manager at the time for the Reds, wanted some power-hitting outfielders.
That was a pretty good call. Dunn in high school threw 44 touchdowns. Can you imagine? I mean, he's perfectly built for the NFL. 6'6", big, strong guy, moves around pretty well.
Quarterback from Texas. Doesn't look like a quarterback to me. He looks like an offensive lineman. He's huge.
Big enough to be whatever he wants to be. Reaches for that outside pitch and fouls it out of play. Dunn actually got on the campus of the University of Texas and redshirted as a freshman. And decided it was time to pursue his baseball career. Cincinnati was thrilled about that. 1-2, 1 out. Got him. Adam Dunn has struck out 3 times tonight.
Now they got away with a hanging breaking ball. They wanted to go down and away. That's right there. Dunn swings right through it.
Alex Rios has grounded out twice to the shortstop. Rios took extra batting practice here this afternoon, right around 2 o'clock, and he's just working hard on getting some timing. He's always had different batting stances, and this is one of them we've seen in the past.
Yeah, with the low hands, he really wants to exaggerate trying to get his hands up. He says he can get some feel that way.
Pokes this one into right. Bautista is there, and Rios is retired for a 3rd time. A good inning for Brandon Morrow. He has a 1-2-3-6. It'll be Escobar to lead things off for the Blue Jays. Corey Patterson has a hit tonight. And then Jose Bautista, he is 1 for 2. It's a 1-0 ball game. Let's check in with AA New Hampshire, and last night Henderson Alvarez, another strong outing.
Yeah, second start in AA, pitches 6 innings. I like the 10 ground ball outs, 1 fly ball, so he kept the ball down in good movement. And Anthony Goes, we've been talking about him now for a while. A couple more stolen bases, and what's impressive about the stolen bases is his steal percentage.
Last year he was caught stealing almost 42% of the time, and this year a dramatic improvement, so he's learning a little bit more about the art of base stealing
at a higher level too. Every time you can improve, it's a good sign.
Top of the order, Escobar, Patterson, Bautista. Their third look at Philip Umber, and he continues to dominate the American League hitters. There's a drive towards center field. Rios on the run at the wall. Home run, Escobar. His 5th home run of the season has tied it in a run apiece. It's a 1-1 ball game.
Umber doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Coming into this game, he had only given up 3 all season long. Escobar with number 5, and it's a hanger. Watch him recognize it, stay back, and then throw his hands at the ball. He recognized that hanging breaking ball, and he didn't miss it.
Number knew right away, and that breaking ball just spun out there over the plate and said, "Hit me." Yunel Escobar has tied it at a run apiece. Slider downstairs. 2 balls and a strike. Corey Patterson singled against Umber his last time up. Change up upstairs.
See if he gives in right here to Patterson. Singled last time up to left field. It looked like a breaking ball.
Gets underneath this one and fouls it over near the seats. Back out of play. Patterson got a pretty good pitch to hit there.
Like he was looking for a breaking ball because he was a little tardy on that fastball.
Full count. Bautista on deck. Umber strikes him out. It's only the second strikeout for the White Sox right-hander.
Challenges a fastball that's up, and he comes up empty, swinging at it. Came into this game giving up 9 hits all season long to right-handed batters, and the righties have gotten 3 times tonight.
First pitch changeup outside to Bautista. Jose singled with 2 outs in the first and then flew out to right. They just won't give in to Bautista, and why should they? He's getting a steady diet of breaking balls. At this point, all you're hoping, if you're Bautista, is that he hangs a breaking ball.
Surprised that he would even try and throw him a fastball.
Right to the second baseman. Bautista is retired. 2 outs. Gordon Beckham was playing up middle and had an easy play. So we're up to the leadoff home run. Humber has settled in, a strikeout and a ground out. Now Juan Rivera. Rivera's single came in the 4th. Quite an interesting contrast in styles for Rivera. He's more of a hands hitter, where Bautista uses his legs very effectively.
Yeah, gets the whole body into it with that high leg kick. Rivera, though, he can turn around a fastball when he's got it all working together. Earlier this year, he's getting beat by that fastball. Now his timing seems to be a little bit better.
Got a fastball there and hit it right on the nose, but right at Juan Pierre in left. Juan Rivera hit it hard, but it's the 3rd out of the inning. The Blue Jays have tied it up here in the 6th. A leadoff home run by Yunel Escobar. Got a breaking ball and didn't miss it. Hits it deep to center field. His 5th of the season. It's a 1-1 game. Chase Utley back in the active roster, is starting to swing the bat. And A.J. Pierzynski has his 2nd hit of the night. A sharp single into center.
This is how they started Back in the 5th inning against Brandon Morrow, single by Pierzynski, and they put the hit and run on with VIZQUEL. That one right over the glove of Morrow. First pitch swinging right over his glove. Wouldn't be surprised to see VIZQUEL this time maybe lay down a bunt here.
John McDonald, a third baseman, is in guarding against the bunt. VIZQUEL doesn't show bunt, takes a high pitch for a ball. See McDonald at third base. He is well in front of the bag. Last time VIZQUEL on a hit and run slapped it through the shortstop hole into left field. There goes Pierzynski. This time VIZQUEL pulls it down the right side, and that's going to hook into the seats. So there you go. VIZQUEL that time pulled it, trying to shoot one through the right side of the infield. The Blue Jays had the same defense on. Escobar was covering the bag at second.
A little bit different pitch that time, and it worked one time. Why not try it again? You can see VIZQUEL looking around at the infielders.
Infield basically straight away for VIZQUEL. Ball and a strike.
VIZQUEL used to be real good at showing bunt, and the infield starts moving and pull it back and just slap it through the left side. Very creative ball player.
Lots of holes on the infield, and VIZQUEL's just looking around.
He was the first shortstop I remember who would catch pop-ups to the outfield with his back to home plate. Said it was easier for him.
Strike. 1-2 to VIZQUEL. OMAR VIZQUEL playing third base tonight. 11-time Gold Glover. 1-1 ball game. White Sox scored a single run in the 5th. The Blue Jays scored their run in the 6th. A solo home run by Yunel Escobar. Ball is popped into center field. Davis makes the catch. VIZQUEL is retired. Blue Jays slowly but surely getting their team back. Rajay Davis missed time with a sprained ankle. Adam Lind really kind of had a setback in his minor league rehab. He was scheduled to play in a baseball game yesterday down in extended spring training. That's been pushed back to Saturday.
He is swinging the baseball bat. He's taking batting practice. Still hurts a little bit when he runs, but you're right. He was supposed to play in a game yesterday, but now it looks more like over the weekend.
Gordon Beckham 0 for 2. This bottom of the order, this is where you really want to grind. The White Sox have grounded into 43 double plays. Off the end of the bat, Beckham was out in front of the changeup. Isn't it interesting how a guy like Morrow can throw a changeup 85 miles an hour? There are big league pitchers that throw a fastball 85. But for Morrow, 85 is a change of pace.
It's the difference in miles per hour. And talking to coaches and managers, about 12 miles per hour is where you want to be between your fastball and your changeup.
That would be ideal. Morrow hasn't been able to soften his changeup to that extent just yet. But he has a very effective change. He's ahead of Beckham, a ball and 2 strikes. Just missed. Must be nice to be able to just reach back and call on 95 whenever you need it, huh?
Yeah, okay. The hitter is looking for a breaking ball. I think I'll step it up a little bit here. Surprised when I think it surprised Beckham. It was just low.
Both teams have a run on 4 hits. No one has committed an error here tonight. Both pitchers have done a great job. Brandon Morrow for the Jays, Philip Humber for the White Sox, and this is what we expected to get.
I think this whole series, there are so many good pitchers that we're going to see.
Strike 3 call. Inside quarter with the fastball. That catches Beckham looking.
Pitch number 100 of the game is a good one for Brandon Morrow. Just on the inside part of the plate, and it was down too.
Good pitch count for Morrow. First inning was a problem. He hit a batter and walked a batter, but after that he's been very good keeping the pitches to a minimum. 2 outs. Juan Pierre takes a strike. Pierre drove in the only White Sox run. He had a first pitch single into right with 2 outs back in the 5th. Bounced it towards short. Escobar will step on the bag, and Pierre is retired on the fielder's choice. Brandon Morrow throws up a 0. It's a 1-1 ball game. Humber and Morrow hooked up in a good one. All new Equus from Hyundai, redefining luxury.
You know, Escobar leads off the 6th inning and on a 1-1 count, hanging breaking ball, and Escobar drives it to center field. It clears the wall. His 5th home run of the season, tying up this ball game. That's where we stand right now as the Blue Jays hit in the bottom of the 7th.
Escobar really put a charge in that breaking ball. His 5th homer. AT Toor was trying to give the Jays the lead. Had a big hack.
Home run cut.
Looks like Morrow's day has come to an end. 100 pitches through his 7 innings of work. Blue Jays would love to be able to get a run here off Humber and give Morrow the opportunity for a W. 0-2. Breaking ball bounced. Brandon Morrow, good start. 1 run on 4 hits. He struck out 5. This is the best start of the year in my mind. Even though he had a 10 strikeout game against Tampa Bay, he was totally in charge here tonight.
Yeah, he was using all of his pitches too. Saw some change-ups early in the count, a breaking ball, and when he had to throw a fastball. When he had to reach back for a little something extra, he had it.
First game that Morrow has thrown to J.P. Arancibia, and it was a good one. Arancibia drives it to right, but that'll hang up. Quentin short of the warning track. First out, bottom of the seventh. Second baseman Aaron Hill has popped up twice tonight against Humber. Still looking for his first home run of the season.
Came close that last game here. It was against Anuri Rodriguez from the Houston Astros. It was the last series the Blue Jays played before they went to New York. Hit one off the top of the wall. Loves that ball down and in where he can get that head of the bat through.
That came in Friday night's game in his first at bat. Another pop up. Done, the first baseman won't have a play. Jason Frazier loosening up. He'll come on to work the eighth inning. Brandon Morrow has already been given a handshake from the skipper, John Farrell. Winning starts and ends with your starting pitching. Keep in a ball game, give you a chance to score some runs.
That's why you just look around and you look at the teams that have the depth in the starting pitchers. The White Sox, I'll throw them in there. I'll throw the Tigers in there also. Red Sox. Those are the teams that are going to be there.
You look at the teams that have played near the top of the division. Ozzie Guillen knows what it means to win. They won in 2005. It's all about pitching, and he's been blessed with a great leader in the staff in Mark Burley. Hill pokes it into right. Quentin on the run, makes the catch. 2 outs here in the seventh. They mentioned Philip Humber, a third pick overall in the 2004 draft, and he was a guy that the Mets thought they'd just be able to wait out a couple of years. He'd show up in their rotation and be a front of the rotation guy. Quite work out for him. You see, he has just a year of service. 2006, 2010, only 3 decisions. There's a little tapper up third baseline. Humber, high throw. Thames is aboard, and he's headed for second. Here's the throw, and he'll be awarded second as that ball bounced out of play and back onto the field. So Humber, it is haste to get the ball to first. Throws high, and when you airmail Adam Nunn, that's real high.
Yeah, 6'6", throwing it over there. I thought he did a good job of squaring up to the baseball. But then in his throw over to first base, it took off on him. And Thames will move into second base. And Humber's been tough with runners in scoring position and 2 out, exactly where they sit right now. Batters just hit a 167 against him this year. He has been able to make pitches when he needs to.
So Thames is in scoring position for Rajai Davis with 2 outs. Goes too far on the outside pitch. Davis has had a tough time anytime a pitcher can get that ball on the outer edge of the plate.
He's out here early today working with Dwayne Murphy, not staying in the middle of the field. Here are the numbers for Rajai Davis. 2 outs, runners in scoring position.
Two balls and a strike. Game is tied 1-1. Hit sharply, but right to the shortstop. Davis is retired. Blue Jays will strand the base runner. We have played 7 complete here at Rogers Center. Philip Humber is still in the ball game. It's a 1-1 game. Grand opening of Camp Ujiguez downtown. Camp Ujiguez provides programming for children affected by cancer. Through the Jays Care Foundation, the Blue Jays have provided Ujiguez downtown a Blue Jays themed community clubhouse. For more information, log on to bluejays.com/community. Jason Frazier comes out of the bullpen to start the 8th inning in this 1-1 ball game. Brandon Morrow with a very good start. He goes 7 strong innings, holds the White Sox to a run on 4 hits.
Here's Frazier's numbers in his 21 games that he has been in this year. He also has 4 holds for them. Lefty's hitting 114 against Frazier, and he's been a valuable guy for John Farrell's bullpen this year. Farrell was talking about him before the game, saying that we can use him anywhere in the game. We can use him in the 4th inning. We can use him anywhere between the 5th, the 8th, and he's done a good job. And typically, he said, we have used him to pitch against the middle of the order of the opposition. And here he is again as we start the 8th inning. He's going to start and go right through the middle of the lineup.
Number 2 hitter, Alexei Ramirez. Then it'll be Quentin and Konerko. The meat of the White Sox order. Ramirez takes the fastball down and away for a ball. Frazier's a 3-pitch pitcher. Throws a very good fastball. Commands both sides of the plate with it. Has a breaking ball and a very effective changeup. Does it with a split finger grip. I really like his ability to throw that fastball down and away to right-handed hitters.
Yeah, stay down there. That's where he has really lived all season long. You ask him which one is his favorite pitch or his best pitch, and he thinks his changeup has gotten to a point that it might be his best pitch.
He'll always be around 92 to 94 with the fastball velocity. The dangerous Carlos Quentin is on deck. Elevates that fastball, and Ramirez is late. Pitching has been the dominant force here tonight. Both clubs scoring just a single run. Ramirez was beaten with that fastball.
I think pitching is going to be good this whole series. The White Sox have a slew of good starters. I think so do the Blue Jays. We knew Morrow had to turn it around. Pitched a good game here tonight. 7 innings for the first time this season.
Tomorrow night, Mark Burley, the left-hander, will go up against the youngster Kyle Graybeck. Saturday afternoon, Edwin Jackson and Carlos Villanueva. And then Sunday, the left-hander John Danks against the Blue Jays' Ricky Romero. Popped up foul territory. John McDonald over at the wall. It's out of play.
Gavin Floyd was great yesterday for the White Sox, and Blue Jays are going to miss him.
Gavin Floyd allowed just 3 hits to the Rangers. It was the first time the Rangers have ever won a game in their ballpark with 3 hits. A 2-1 ball game. Can't get much better than that, but Gavin Floyd ended up on the short end of the stick. Kyle Drabek, we mentioned he'll go tomorrow. He's a 3-3 record against 4-3 Mark Burley. Two and two to Ramirez. Pokes at it and hits it toward left. That'll split the outfielders and get down. Rejay Davis cuts it off, but Ramirez gets into second with a leadoff double. Pretty good at bat by the White Sox shortstop.
Yeah, good hitters have plate coverage. Even when that pitcher makes a good pitch, or it looked like Frazier made a good pitch against Ramirez, he had plate coverage. Watch how he has to reach for it and almost hits it one-handed. But he finds a hole in the left center field. He will come around first base and make it into second easily with his 11th double of the season. Good start for the White Sox here in the 8th. Just their 5th hit tonight.
Right-hander Carlos Quentin, the right-handed batter. Quentin was hit by a pitch, and for the night he is 0 for 2. Quentin has been a tremendous road warrior this season. He's hitting .317 at the start of play tonight on the road. Takes the first pitch straight. Quentin leads the American League in road slugging percentage. Home runs hit on the road. Doubles, RBI, and total bases.
10 of his 12 home runs have come on the road.
Quentin had a 3-homer night Tuesday night against the Rangers at Arlington. He's the first White Sox player to have 3 home runs in a game since Paul Konerko did it July of '09. And Konerko's on deck. Tough part of the lineup for Frazier. And John Farrell, also talking about the back end of the bullpen, suggested that he's just going to go with matchups and availability.
That's right. He hasn't anointed a closer right now. So as they get into the later part of the games, he's going to look at matchups, how a certain pitcher matches up against a certain hitter, and who's available. He feels like they are versatile enough. He wants to remain flexible in the back end of that bullpen also.
Ball on a strike. Quentin pops it out in front of home. Aaron Sebia swipes at it. He reaches at it again. And then has time to get Quentin. On the play, Ramirez moves to third. Aaron Sebia reached at it the first time and didn't connect, but had time to regroup.
I think he was thinking about maybe trying to go to third base. That works just like a bunt.
Dangerous part of the order, as we had mentioned. Paul Konerko now hitting in the cleanup spot. Home runs since 2004. He is third in the American League.
There's some sluggers in there, and everybody knows about A-Rod and David Ortiz. But there's that underrated Paul Konerko right in there.
Yeah, he didn't get the attention of those other guys, although he puts up big numbers. The infield has shortened up. First pitch strike. Big first baseman Adam Dunn is on deck. Dunn has struck out 3 times tonight. It's a 1-1 ball game. Both teams with 5 hits.
Konerko has an idea whenever he steps into that plate. Right now, he has an idea how he wants to go about hitting Jason Frazier.
It doesn't look like he's too concerned about pulling the ball. Just wants to get something up so he can drive it over the infield.
And not overcommit too quickly. And if he throws him a changeup out in front or he hits it off the end of the bat, he's looking for something that he can get out into the outfield to score that run.
Blocked by Arancibia, and Ramirez has to hold at third.
All you have to do is just watch the front shoulder of good hitters. They keep it in there for a long time. That's why good hitters are good RBI players. They can hit that breaking ball. They don't overcommit.
That's a pretty good number. Is 274 average in the 7th inning or later. Here he is, an RBI guy. He's got a great reputation, and he's facing setup men and closers.
Cream of the crop late in the ball game. Got to have an idea.
Frazier took something off of that and caught the inside corner. 2-2. With Dunn on deck, Mark Zepchinski is loosening up. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Down and in, another block by Arancibia. J.P. Arancibia has taken over the everyday duties behind the plate.
Done a good job. He has taken control of the pitching staff. He is really gaining experience behind there. Let's see what he tries to go to here with Konerko. He's thinking along that Konerko might be looking for a fastball.
Throw him that changeup again, and Konerko was out in front. If you're going to throw the fastball, in my mind, the best place would be down and away.
Keep it off the barrel. Or you could try and surprise him with a fastball in the inner half and jam and keep the ball in the infield. The only problem with that is if you miss, the ball's going to end up in the outfield.
Another full count pitch, 1 out. Ground ball to third. McDonald has it. Chases Ramirez back to third. Jason Frazier won that battle with Konerko. And without hesitation, John Farrell pops out of the dugout. He's already made the call to the bullpen with Adam Dunn coming to the plate. Mark Zepchinski, the left-hander, will come out, and these numbers dramatically favor the Blue Jays. Adam Dunn is 0 for 32 against left-handed pitching this season. When we come back, it'll be Zepchinski against Dunn in a 1-1 game. league in ERA going into that game this afternoon. A 2.87 team ERA for Oakland.
And they might get their closer back pretty soon. Mark Zebchinski into the game, and this is the situation why they have him out in that bullpen. Late in the game, go ahead and run on base. Left-handed hitter at the plate.
Adam Dunn. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. We mentioned Dunn is 0 for 32 against left-handed pitching this season. Oh, and 2. Dunn in a similar situation in yesterday's 2-1 loss, struck out against Darren Oliver with the tying and winning run on base.
Ozzie Guillen electing to keep him up there against the tough left-hander, showing confidence in him that he can come through in a big situation. Doing the same thing here tonight.
0-2, struck him out. Adam Dunn has struck out 4 times tonight. Mark Zebchinski comes in with a go-ahead run at third, and Dunn goes down for a 4th time. Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, that's 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, the Blue Jays will be right back here on Sportsnet 1. It'll be the White Sox in Game 2 against the Blue Jays. The pregame show will start at 6:30. We'll be right behind them just at the top of the hour. It'll be Kyle Drabek for the Blue Jays against the veteran Mark Burley. And if you like pitching, this whole series sets up to produce good pitching. Number 9 hitter John McDonald goes after the first pitch for the Bombers, still in the ball game, and why not? He has held the Blue Jays to a single run on 5 hits. He's been doing this all year long.
Yeah, just attacking that strike zone.
It's a high pop-up behind shortstop. Ramirez backpedals and makes the catch.
Working quickly, moving that ball around. He's got a strikeout pitch in that curveball.
Will Oman is the left-hander. Jesse Crane, the Canadian, is the right-hander. Crane signed with the White Sox as a free agent. The bullpen coach is Juan Nieves. Nieves, the owner of a no-hitter for the Milwaukee Brewers. Yunel Escobar provided the only Blue Jay run of the night. The solo home run came in the 6th inning. Number 5 of the season. Boy, Umber hasn't changed his style whatsoever. He's grabbing it and firing.
Not a lot of wasted energy out there on that mound. We don't see him walking around and looking up into the stands. He gets the ball. has a plan.
Just over 100 pitches with one out in the 8th. Another changeup. That one was off the plate outside. Escobar pops it way out of play.
Time to swing was a little bit long right there for Escobar on that fastball.
103 pitches now for Umber. That's the highest pitch count this season. That fastball right on the inside corner. Looked like Escobar kind of gave up on it. Looked like it had plenty of the plate.
That's from looking outside, 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 and he actually misses his spot. They wanted to stay out there. Thought that that ball rode in, but you can tell from that overhead camera he got plenty of the plate.
Ball was on the plate. So there are 2 outs now. Corey Patterson has a hit in 3 at-bats. Patterson, one of the 2 strikeouts that Umbra has recorded. Now there's 3 with the Escobar caught looking. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs in this 1-1 ball game. Both pitchers are all night long. The starters, Morrow and Umber, and now the bullpen for the Blue Jays. And there's a long drive, but that's going to hook foul into the seats.
Struck him out last time up with a high fastball away.
Bounce the curveball. Full count. Bautista's on deck.
See if he
Bautista has 1 hit and 3 at-bats.
See if he challenges him here, knowing that Bautista's on deck, not wanting to walk him.
I think Umber can throw anything. He's thrown strikes with all of his pitches tonight. 3-2. Got a fastball and he drilled it into right. Quentin playing deep, plays it on a big bounce. Pair of hits for Corey Patterson.
Earlier in the ball game, we were talking about Patterson at first base and Bautista. This one is right over the middle of the plate, and Patterson jumps all over it. Can't get the ball airborne. And we were talking about him just staying at first base and not taking the bat out of the hands of Bautista. I think now he's got to try and steal.
Do you? You think he should run in this situation?
Yep.
Just get himself in scoring position?
Just get in the scoring position. That's the main thing. And if they choose to take the bat out of the hands of Jose Bautista, you got to feel good that Juan Rivera hitting in the cleanup spot will drive in a run. But we'll see how they play it. It looks like Ozzie Guillen is going to go out to the mound. And
that was pretty interesting. Looked like Guillen was gathering his thoughts on the bench, kind of decide what to do. And I'm not sure he's made up his mind yet.
Nobody has moved, and now Guillen has made up his mind, and he just looks at the first base umpire, Paul Emmel, know that he wants to go to the bullpen.
Now, Philip Umber gives up the 6th hit to the Blue Jays, and that'll end his night. It comes with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. He leaves in a 1-1 game and turns things over to the veteran right-hander Jesse Crain. Crain will come on to face Jose Bautista when we
She held the Blue Jays to a single run on 6 hits. The runner at first base is his responsibility, but he has been terrific all season long.
Yeah, he certainly has. And another good, solid 7 2/3 inning here tonight. Jesse Crane, the veteran, will come in to face Jose Bautista. 17 of his 20 outings this season have been scoreless, including 10 in a row. So he is on a hot streak for the White Sox also.
Jose Bautista is 0 for 4 against the White Sox right-hander. Jesse Crane pitched for Minnesota, and Jesse Crane was born in Toronto. He spent the first 3 months of his life in Toronto before moving to Colorado. But he has pitched on both WBC teams for Team Canada. 2 outs for Jose Bautista. Patterson at first. Down and away, blocked by Pierzynski.
Not showing any indications that he's going to try and steal and get in the scoring position. Crane has given up 5 stolen bases this year without a caught stealing.
Outside. Bautista looks like he's got him zeroed in. Jesse Crane pitched parts of 7 seasons for the Minnesota Twins. Two and 1-1 ball game, bottom of the 8th inning. 2 outs.
Go ahead run at first base on that outfield. Look how deep they are, especially Juan Pierre, the left fielder.
There goes Patterson. Ball is outside. Pierzynski doesn't even come out of the crouch. They didn't cover second.
And that'll mean an automatic walk to Bautista.
So they will walk Bautista after the 3-1 pitch. There's the intentional pass, and they will pass the baton to Juan Rivera.
Didn't look like they wanted to pitch to him anyway, even if he doesn't try and steal.
Rivera has a home run against Jesse Crane. All he needs now is a single.
Yeah, something into the outfield.
Good speed at second. Corey Patterson takes his lead with 2 outs. Bautista's at first. There are the numbers for Rivera. 1 for 4. The 1 hit, a home run. Bouncing ball to short. Ramirez on the run, has time, and Rivera is retired. The Blue Jays get a couple on, but they strand him. We have played 8 complete. Jesse Crane comes out of the bullpen. She shut down the Blue Jays here in the 8th.
another first, only from Rogers.
Yeah, in a 1-1 game in the 8th inning with the go-ahead run at third base, Mark Zepchinski comes in against Adam Dunn, and he makes quick work of it. Breaking ball, fastball, and then a breaking ball. Dunn strikes out for the 4th time. Mark Zepchinski does his job stranding that runner at third base.
Zepchinski stays in the game to face Alex Rios. And gets ahead with a fastball. Rios is 0 for 3 tonight. White Sox held to just 5 hits. Rios a .262 hitter against left-handed pitching. Another changeup missed down in the dirt.
He was 3rd on their team last year in home runs with 21. And just like this year, he came in the end of May really struggling with the bat. Came into this series last year and caught fire.
Bouncing ball. McDonald on the move, throws high at first and airmails Rivera. John McDonald knew he had to unload in a hurry and made a high throw.
Rios gets to second base.
Rios with those long strides out of the box. You're right. Johnny Mac knew that he had to be quick to get Rios. Breaks on it. He is back with a couple of strikes. Unloads it. It's just over the head of Rivera. Bounces into the stands.
John McDonald, that's his first error of the season. So Rios represents the go-ahead run. He's at second with nobody out. A.J. Pierzynski, the left-handed batter, has a couple of hits tonight. Squares to bunt, pulls the bat back, takes a strike.
Managers will give hitters in this situation the option to swing away to try and move the runner. If you don't feel that comfortable against a certain pitcher, if you want to go ahead and bunt, go for it.
He bunts at that one and pokes it foul. Yeah, they'll come to hitters. Of course, Ian has had Pierzynski a long time and said, listen, if you're not comfortable bunting, pull the ball. I don't care how you get Rios from second to third.
Yeah,
you've got to advance him.
And vice versa, if you don't feel comfortable swinging against a left-handed pitcher, go ahead and try and lay it down. Let Rios do the job. He's got a lot of speed at second base. It doesn't have to be a perfect bunt.
Swing and a miss. Pierzynski goes down. Zepchinski gets another good left-handed hitter.
It's Canada's best-selling car 13 years in a row. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Omar VIZQUEL, the switch hitter, will bat right-handed for the first time tonight. VIZQUEL has a hit that came back in the 5th inning. That gets away from Aaron Sebia, and Rios will move to third. So Pierzynski couldn't move Rios, but the wild pitch will.
Ball in the dirt. Aaron Sebia goes over there and just can't keep it in front of him. Now things get really interesting. The infield's got to come in. Jeff Cox, the third base coach, had a long conversation with Rios at third base.
And VIZQUEL can really handle the bat. They can play squeeze here if they want to. Doesn't show bunt, takes a strike. Even with the infield drawn in, if you execute the timing, there's not much you can do about it.
Good stuff. Lots of options when you have a player like VIZQUEL at the plate.
And John McDonald is just walking down the line with Rios when he takes his lead.
Going over there to listen to the voice commands of Jeff Cox.
Ball and a strike, 1 out in this 1-1 ball game. We are in the 9th. VIZQUEL out in front. The White Sox got a break. John McDonald committing the first error of the season. Allowed Rios to reach. He went to second base on the throwing error. And then after the strikeout, the wild pitch moved Rios over to third. Zebchinski strikes out VIZQUEL. That's his third strikeout since coming into the game.
It's a nasty breaking ball. Even to a right-handed batter, watch how he'll get it underneath the barrel. Good job by JP Arencibia to slap the tag on, smother that ball.
So Zebchinski has struck out 2. Rios still at third. Gordon Beckham has lined out, popped out, and struck out. Rios reached on McDonald's error. That always kind of baffled me, how a pitcher would throw a pitch right by a hitter. The hitter would look bad, and then he asked the umpire for a different ball. Yeah. I want that last ball I threw. That one moved pretty good.
Yeah, must not have felt right in his hand or something. So he goes ahead and trades out.
1-1. That ball gets away. It hits Beckham. Hit him in the foot. So Beckham will be aboard. That might be a blessing in disguise, because that'll bring a left-handed hitter to the plate in Juan Pierre. Zebchinski has really handled the left-handers very easily. He got done to strike out. First batter he faced, then he struck out AJ Pierzynski.
A couple of things that the White Sox can do. He can bunt. So John McDonald is going to come in at third base, even with 2 outs, a drag bunt. They've also got the chance, if Pierre falls behind in the count, maybe try a double steal or something like that. So the Blue Jays have to be ready on their defense.
And the Blue Jays are well prepared for all of those options, as they've been practicing them all spring long. 2 outs, Juan Pierre. There's the bunt, squared around and takes it outside. Pierre has 6 bunt base hits. Rios is a good base runner at third. There's that breaking ball. Left-handers haven't come close.
They pull off on it. It looks like a fastball, as he throws it right out of the same slot as his fastball. They see straight one and it bends. Watch Pierre pull off of it.
One and one. In the dirt. What a block by Arencibia. Quickly going to his left. He let one get away from him, and that's the one that allowed Rios to go to third base with 1 out. Two balls and a strike. 2 on, 2 outs. It's a 1-1 ball game here, top of the 9th. A little extra on the heater from Zebchinski.
92 with some movement. There are your infield hit leaders. He is tied with Ichiro Suzuki at 13. Lots of speed at the top there.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Beckham at first, Rios at third. There goes Beckham down in the dirt, and Beckham will get to second base. It's a stolen base for Beckham. The Blue Jays didn't cover. They weren't going to free up their defensive positions. They held their ground.
Yeah, don't even give them a chance to have him roll the ball through the infield.
Full count. Got it. Foul tip, fell off the glove. Just got a piece of it. Pierre stays alive.
Yeah, but it looked like Arancibia grabbed that ball for just a split second. 3-2 slider. Looks like he dug it out. But it just comes out of his glove. We'll do it again.
Bouncing ball to first. Rivera gets there. Pierre beats Zabchinski to the bag. 2 runs come in to score. Another bang play at first, and I'm not sure where Zabchinski got hit, but it looked like the ball went off of him as he got to the bag. Pierre beats Zabchinski to first base.
Yeah, left-hander falling off the third base side of the mound. And from that play, Pierre was going to beat him. I don't know where that ball hit Zabchinski. It's good that he's smiling to George Poulos. Let's take a look. Watch him fall off the side of the mound, and now he's got to hustle over there. But Pierre, from running from the left-handed batter's box, beats him. I don't know if the ball ricocheted off of his forehead or what. We should be able to tell from right here. Unfortunately for the Blue Jays, not 1 run, but 2 runs are going to score on that play.
His scoring is a single for Juan Pierre, another infield single. He gets an RBI. The second run scores on the air by the first baseman. So Pierre delivers in a clutch. White Sox take a 3-1 lead with 2 outs. Pierre with a big lead at first. That'll draw a throw. So Rios scores on the infield hit. Beckham scores from second on the air by Rivera. Juan Pierre with his 14th infield hit.
It's a big one, too. Scores a run. And then the air brings in another one.
Another throw to first. Pierre has a stolen base that came in the 5th inning. Sergio Santos on the right. Edwin Jackson is one of the 6 starters. He's just getting his throwing in now as he's been standing in reserve. And that's what they do with their extra 2 starters on their throw day. 2 outs. Ramirez taking all the way. Ramirez had a leadoff double in the 8th inning off Jason Frazier, but he would be stranded at third. Mark Zabchinski came in with 2 outs and struck out Adam Dunn to leave the White Sox shortstop at third. Ball is driven toward the gap in right center. Juan Bautista on the run. Nobody's going to get it, and the Blue Jays caught a break. That ball bounced out of play. Pierre will have to go back to third as Ramirez comes up with his 2nd consecutive double. Bautista watched it bounce out of play.
That could be a huge play for the Blue Jays. Pierre was going to score easily if that ball stays in the ballpark. You mentioned the double last time. This time he hits it to right field. It hits the warning track and bounces out of the ballpark, out of play. Ground rule double. Runner has to go back to third base. So John Farrell out of the dugout. He has already gone to the bullpen. John Roush in. He will face Carlos Quentin trying to stop this rally by the White Sox.
White Sox have scored 2 here in the top of the 9th with 2 outs. John Roush will come in and he'll face Carlos Quentin when we come back. 3-1 White Sox lead. John Roush out of the bullpen with 2 outs. There's a first pitch strike as Quentin swings and misses. Roush has not pitched since Monday. Came in the ball game in New York. Had a very good 7th inning and a couple of strikeouts in that 7th. Popped up behind the screen and out of play. Roush would strike out 3 in an inning in the 3rd. He had a leadoff walk and was charged with a run when Luis Perez gave up a base hit to Robinson Cano.
That run charged him. He has been good. Inherited runners. He's inherited 8 runners this season, and only 1 of them have scored. Second and third, excuse me, and 2 outs. He needs to get him right here.
Quentin pops it up right side. Rivera calls for it, and Roush does his job. He comes in with 2 outs and 2 on and strands a pair. The Blue Jays have some work to do. They are down by 2. It'll be Aaron Sebia, Aaron Hill, and Eric Thames to bat bottom of the 9th. MasterCard Memorial Cup. Owen Saab was defeated by Kootenai, so Kootenai will take on the host Mississauga on Friday night. It'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. That's the semifinal. Kootenai and Mississauga Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Their right fielder is Brett Lillibridge. He comes on defensively, takes over for Carlos Quentin. Dallas McPherson defensively at first base in place of Adam Dunn. And Sergio Santos, the hard-throwing closer, comes out of the bullpen trying to protect this 2-run lead.
It's been an interesting year for Santos. He started as a setup man, and when Matt Thornton blew a couple of games early this year, Santos was right there to pick up the pieces, and he has been great this year. His last outing picked up his 7th save, having to get 4 outs against Texas.
First pitch swinging. J.P. Arancibia lifts it into center field. Rios is there. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 9th.
You know what makes Santos so tough is he's got 3 pitches that he can get you out with. Fastball, slider, and a good changeup. He didn't give up a run all spring training long. The first time he gave up a run was 2 appearances ago against the Dodgers. And that's been it.
1 out. Aaron Hill. Big fastball for a strike. Santos started out in the Arizona Diamondbacks system. He was drafted as a position player. He was a shortstop. Made his way through Toronto as part of the Troy Glaus deal. Miguel Batista, Orlando Hudson going to the Diamondbacks. He's ahead 0-2. Then he was claimed by Minnesota off waivers from Toronto and signed as a free agent with the White Sox. Made the conversion, and now you know the rest of the story.
Kenny Williams saw something in him. The general manager for the Chicago White Sox saw the big arm and sent him down to the minor leagues. And wow, I think he's ready to really become one of those elite type closers because his stuff is strikeout good. 27 strikeouts in 23 innings this year.
1-2 to Aaron Hill. Lays off that breaking ball. That's the improvement we've seen this year compared to last. Santos has added some depth to his slider.
He also has a pretty good changeup. Saw him in a game a couple of weeks ago against the Oakland A's when he came in a save situation, struck out the side, and he used 3 different pitches. Struck 1 out on a fastball, the next one on a changeup, and the last one on a slider.
Blue Jays need a base runner. Eric Thames is on deck. White Sox scored 2 in the top of the 9th to take a 3-1 lead. And there's the base runner. That'll bring the tying run to the plate. Philip Humber goes 7 2/3 innings. Jesse Crain is the pitcher of record. Crain came in and had the intentional pass to Bautista and then got Rivera to ground out. Thames has an infield hit. That came in the 7th. He's 1 for 3. Home run, swing and a miss.
Yeah, good time for that first big league home run. Sitting all over that fastball, but he didn't get it.
In the dirt, Hill holds his ground. Wasn't sure he could make it, so no reason to gamble. Santos has given up 1 home run.
That was in the Dodger game where he suffered his first career blown save. 2 outs in the 9th inning on a pitch that was hit by a young player, a third baseman for the Dodgers. Hit it off the foul pole.
Ball on a strike. Thames out in front. Another off-speed pitch from Santos. Eric Thames has shown the ability to make some adjustments. We saw him do it against the Astros. He also did it against New York when he stayed back Freddie Garcia and hit a breaking ball to the wall in right center. 1-2, 1 out. Chases a pitch down and in and strikes out. Blue Jays are down to their final out.
Quick breaking slider from Santos. This is quickly becoming one of his best pitches. He's only been pitching for a couple of years.
Rajai Davis will try to keep things alive here. Hill will take second. Pitch is a strike. That is not a stolen base, as the White Sox did not cover the back. Santos wants to make sure he's got the proper set of signs with a base runner at second.
Jason Nix has picked up a bat, and if Rajai Davis can get aboard, Nix will hit for John McDonald.
Appeal to first, and Paul Emmel said Davis went too far. 0-2.
Slider from the right hand, from the side. You could see that Rajai Davis just can't hold up on it. Now he's got a battle with 2 strikes.
Santos strikes him out. Sergio Santos comes out of the bullpen and strikes out a pair. Strands a runner here in the 9th. White Sox win the opener of this 4-game series 3-1. Juan Pierre with a big blow in the 9th inning, an infield hit that led to 2 White Sox run. That was the difference in the ball game. Blue Jays lose the opener 3-1. Now it's time for the Connected Postgame Report with Jamie and Greg from the Blackberry Broadcast Studio.